Hey guys, it's Danny, and today I'm going to talk to you about Natasha Denona mini palettes. Um, I have three. I have the mini Lila, or Lila, I think it's pronounced Lila. Um, but I always want to say Lila because the way that they spell it, Lila, is how my best friend Lila spells her name. So, anyway, I have the mini Lila palette, the mini nude palette, and the mini sunset palette. And I want all of them. I think they are great. They're 5 pans. Um, they're very small. They're 25 bucks. They're Natasha Denona, so that's a really good price for Natasha Denona eyeshadows. Um, they're really good shadows too. I do have one like big 5 pan Natasha Denona palette, and the eyeshadows in the 5 pan minis are considerably smaller, and the packaging is considerably smaller, but it's essentially the exact same. The biggest difference, other than the size, is that the normal sized 5 pan Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes are magnetic. They all have this little hole in the back behind each shadow that you can just take a pin if you ever want to depot them and then the eyeshadow will pop out. The mini ones do not have this. And I wanted to depot all of my mini Natasha Denonas and put them in their own little palette. I was also going to do the big palette and just put them all together like the big 5 pan palette, but I ended up not doing that. But I did depot my mini Natasha Denonas, and I have this little Makeup Forever magnetic palette. I have a couple of these. Sephora used to sell these. I don't think they do anymore. I know they still sell Makeup Forever at Sephora, but I don't think they have these little mini palettes anymore. And they were only like $2 for, this size of one. Which, going by like normal sized 5 pan palette Natasha Denona eyeshadows, it would fit 6 of them in here. But they're like fairly big. So, but I have a couple of these lying around because they were only like $2, and way back when I would make Sephora purchases, if I was only like $1 or $2 away from like getting that free shipping, I would buy one of these. So I have like 4 or 5 of these just floating around, and they're great little palettes. But so I depotted all 3. I almost said all 5. I only have 3. I depotted all 3 of my Natasha Denona mini 5 pan palettes and a Natasha Denona single eyeshadow that I got from Sephora as a gift with purchase, and all of them are in here. Now, this little size palette, it's not very big. This will hold 15, so 3 whole Natasha Denona mini palettes. So like I said, I do have a couple of these, and I do want all of the Natasha Denona mini palettes, so I do feel I'm going to do this. Every time I get 3 of them, I'm just going to depot them and put them in a palette. Or maybe as soon as I get them, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, but when I get them, I'm actually going to depot them and put them in these. Now, you might be saying, well, that's not 15 eyeshadows. No, it isn't. This is the single right here that I got with as a gift with purchase. I can't remember the name of the shade. In fact, I don't know most of the names of any of these shades because I didn't keep it or label them because I don't do that. I think it was from the Zendu palette. And it's a little bit bigger, but it's like thinner. I don't know if you can tell, but like the other ones are higher up. So this one's a little bit wider, but it's thinner. So it takes up a little bit of weird space. If I didn't have this one in here, I could fit 2 more of these size in here. And that would be all 15 from all 3 of those palettes. And I actually didn't keep all 15 eyeshadows either, because in the mini Lila palette, there were 2 matte shades. There was a matte like a deep kind of an eggplant color, and then there was like a lighter kind of brighter orange, or not orange, purple, but they were both matte and I didn't like them. So I only kept this shade, this one, I think it was this one or this, it was one of these like neutrally shimmers, I just can't remember which one. This one, and then like this matte was also in that palette. So I kept those, but I didn't keep those two purples. But if I had, and I didn't have this little single, they all 15 would have fit perfectly in here. So because I have like 3 or 4 more of these little guys, I am going to, when I get more of the mini 5 pans, I'm actually going to work on making all these little palettes. And I'm going to probably mix and match some. Like obviously these are all in the same one because this is like these are all the ones that I have. But you know, I might make one that's like full of like warm tones, one that's full of like, you know, cool tones, one that's a mix. And I really like how this looks and how this came out. It was so nice. Now, because, oh, the pans in these are already magnetic. I didn't have to add a magnet to the back of them. The pans themselves are already magnetic. It was just, instead of like the big 5-pan palettes, instead of being already just being in there with a little magnet already and just pushing it out, these ones were glued in. So I could not find a video on how, I couldn't find a video of people depotting the mini Natasha and Denona 5-pan palettes. So I did it how I've done before, where basically I took the little 5-pan palettes, like they're really small. So I took my hair straightener and I plugged it in, I put it on high, plugged it in, and I sat it to where it was like, this was like one plate, this is the other plate, and it was sitting like this. And I let it sit there and let it get hot, put it on its highest setting, and then I took a piece of parchment paper, like that you bake with, and it was just a little strip. And I put it on the bottom plate, and then I put the eyeshadow palette on top of it. I had it open so that way I could grab the lid, and then I just sat it like that, and I just left it for a couple of minutes, and obviously it would get hot. The sticker on the back melted to the parchment paper, but that's why you put the parchment paper there, so it melts to the parchment paper and not to your hair straightener. And then the other plastic didn't like melt as much as it got like really soft and hot. And then I took a butter knife. You can use anything that's like hard or metal. And I like took the butter knife, like put it like between my knees, and then took the palette and took it to where the butt end, the handle of the butter knife would push up against one of the, like the backs of one of the shadows, and it would like pop it up. And then I could take my little depotting tool, stick it under, and go, and it would come out fairly easily. Some of them were a little bit easier to get out than others. I didn't have any like casualties. This one happened because you can see that big old hole. That one happened because the depotting tool slipped when I was doing a different shade and like dug into that one. But it wasn't a complete loss. And then this little matte brown one lost a little tiny bit right there. So, I mean, it was pretty easy. And so I did that, and I would be able to do, depending on how long I left it there, because, you know, it's kind of a learning curve. You kind of have to be like, this amount of minutes is too little. This amount of minutes was a little bit too long because everything was just way too freaking hot. So you kind of had to find that little sweet spot, but I couldn't do the whole palette at once. I could do between 2 to 3 eyeshadows at a time, and then so I'd have to put it back, you know, a couple times to like reheat the bottom and then do it again. So, you know, it just really depends on how long it was there and everything. But it did come out pretty good. They came out really easy. Like I said, I didn't have any casualties. They came out really nice. I will warn you, as you're heating up that plastic to be warmed, the metal pans of the eyeshadows are also getting hot, which I know you know, some of you are like, well, that's common sense. Yes, I know, but I'm just saying it as a warning because, you know, sometimes you don't think about that. And also, they get hotter than you think they are going to get because the surrounding plastic may not be all that hot anymore because it's cooled down more, but that metal stays hotter longer than the plastic does. Um, so you got to carefully take them, and I just stuck them on a paper towel to cool, and then I would like, if I needed to, I'd pick off like the little bit of glue that was stuck to the pan, and then I just stuck them all in here, and they look really great, like I said. And I love that these are the perfect size for 3 of those. So, and of course, you know, this is a really good way of condensing. And, you know, say you have one of these little 5-pan palettes and you only like 3 of the 5, like I did with the mini Lila one. Well, now you don't have to have those extra eyeshadows that you don't want if you depot it. I do like to depot. I don't always depot, but I do like to depot because sometimes I like the packaging. Like I won't ever depot any of my Jeffree Star stuff because the packaging is just amazing. Although if I did depot my Jeffree Star stuff, it would, I would be able to like save so much room. But I'm never going to do it. So, but I thought this was really, really great. And I like depotting things. Like I said, it condenses everything down, clears up clutter, makes space for new things without having to really get rid of my things. So I find it as a good way to do that and to declutter a little bit. But yeah, I thought that was really great. And like I said, I haven't seen, because I did search for it on YouTube, I could not find a video of someone depotting the mini Natasha Denona palettes with success. There was somebody who showed a couple that, like, she decided that she was gonna, like, I guess rearrange these little mini palettes more to her liking or whatever, and she like ruined them because and she's like, don't make my mistake, don't depot these, they're not good for depotting, you know, because she just tried to with the tool and she like ended up breaking like all of them, because she was still trying to keep the palette intact because she was still going to use the little palette. She was just like, I think she was making one of them all matte, one of them all shimmer, something like that. And she messed it up, obviously, because when she would take them out, they broke because she, but if you use the heat method and you're just going to put them in a Z palette, you can use the heat and it melts them and they actually come out really, really easy. The pans are just like in the regular sized 5-pan palette where they're nice and sturdy and thick. And they're already magnetic, like I said, so I didn't have to add a magnet or anything to the bottom. So yeah, that is my video. I hope you liked it. I hope this was informational, I guess. Yeah. So I guess I'll talk to everyone later. Bye.